So to me, this what I do, this thing just makes really kind of plain common sense to me. I don't see it as something. I don't even see it as rebellious or anything. I just see it as like, kind of a very common sense step in life of my relationship to music, like, you know. So there's a couple of things that I hear from people around it, their takes or whatever, and so I'm gonna like one that I get a whole lot of is people say it's post-apocalyptic, and I understand what they mean by that, and that's a large segment of our creative culture now, is thinking about after the end of the world, whatever, after the end of whatever's going on stops going on. From my point of view, we're not in a post-apocalyptic world yet, but we're in the apocalypse that eventually will be in the post of. And I think that apocalypse started like 70, 80 years ago, with when these extreme things came along, and they were things like Nazi death camps and Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Stalin and his gulags, just this wholesale slaughters of people that began to go on. And that seems to me the kind of disregard for our fellow people. That seems like the apocalypse to me, like when we care so little about life. And, this is true in how we've been treating our environment. It's true with like the way we set up power structures, basically to abuse other elements of humanity, which is rife throughout the world, So to me, just in short, like, this is the apocalypse right now. We're in it, we're allowing it to happen. Some of us are contributing toward it happening, some of us are trying to resist it happening, but it's going on. And so whatever post-apocalyptic means is, I think that has valuable lessons for us. It doesn't mean like, I don't see the post-apocalypse as necessarily being violent and threatening in the kind of, the standard way is that, like, in our post-apocalyptic thing, everybody is your enemy, and it's like, the survival of the fittest thing. And to me, that notion is a very conservative one and a very negative one about, think of the people you met in your life. How many of them were actually threatening to you? Most people just want to kind of get along, It's having our current power structures that make people seem threatening. Like, the world is scary because of Nazis, because of, nuclear weapons, because of destroyed environments, because of gulags, things like that. That's what makes us scary to each other. It's not our individual relationships to one another. Once in a while, I met 3 or 4 people in my life I just really didn't like, but that's out of thousands. I think most people are pretty cool, right? So, yeah, that's one of them. The other thing is, a lot of times people call me an outsider, right? Like this is outsider art or whatever. And I find that humorous, you know. I don't feel like an outsider, you know. I just feel like a normal person living a normal life to me, right? And I'm kind of offended by that context because it's kind of dismissive, right? And to me, the people who are outsiders are, you know, go amongst the world's population. You know, most of us just like scramble along, figure out a way to survive and make a living and do our thing, right? And I don't see anything outsider about that. You know, to me, the outsiders are the ones that are culled from our thing to be somehow elite, you know, whether it's through academics or some kind of social privilege or something like that. That's what ends up, you know, in Symphony Hall or at the art gallery, right? To me, those are the outsiders. You know, I don't meet a lot of people like that. I meet a whole lot of people who, like, you know, have a job and have a life and, you know, do what they have to do to make that work, you know. And I think art will be much healthier overall across all the disciplines when it stops getting funneled through, you know, various kind of elitisms. You know, they get to decide that everybody who's not part of their elitism is an outsider. So, yeah, basically, like, fuck that, let's just get real, you know?